people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Bandai Star Wars Rogue One Death Trooper model kit. Anybody who has watched this channel for any length of time knows that I love the model kits. They're just so fun to build, and you end up with an awesome figure at the end. So you have some personal investment in each figure. I think that's a great aspect to add to your figure collection. You can go through all the figures and say, I bought this one here, I bought this one here. I was sad that day, I bought that one, it cheered me up. But with these, you look at them and you go, you know what, I did that. That just has an awesome feeling behind it. I was excited about this kit because it comes with two options, one for the regular Death Trooper and then one for the Death Trooper Specialist. Now looking at the box, I know that they usually use artwork for the picture on the front, but this looks kind of cartoony. Not in proportions, but I guess it's maybe the coloring on it. On the side of the box we have a bunch of pretty pictures, different poses, different options, different weapons, different hands. On this end, same top picture. On this side, bigger picture. It kind of goes into... I was gonna say something like I could read that, but no, I can't read that. There's some side cutters. This side, the picture again, and then on the back, just straight black nothingness. Opening up the box, we have a whole lot of black. Armor pieces, helmet. This looks like the water slide decals. That's an odd one right there. It's kind of a rainbow color. This bag has the joint system in it. These are your more rubbery pieces. Then on this other side, it looks like more matte black body parts, belt, that kind of thing. Got some clear green up here. That's the lenses for the helmet, and then the two little lights in the chin area. Then the last bag has the base, and it looks like the weapons and kind of the gear, I guess. And this is kind of in a grayish black color. Then the instructions. It kind of looks like silver, silver, silver. The red goes on the gun. Oh, okay. The rainbow color goes on the weapon. And in fact, it looks like most of the stickers go on the weapon. It's just silver on the belt buckle, 3 silver buttons right there, and that's it for the figure. And hell, with it just being that, I may just paint that. That's not a biggie. So as always, I'm not going to film the whole build. I'm going to just hit the high spots, or if I run into any trouble, that kind of thing. And then at the end, I'll do a review of the figure assembled. So yeah, I'm going to get started on this. Alright, there's the helmet altogether, and because of my own stupidity, it was a little bit more difficult than it should have been. I forgot this piece right here. The dome on top is all one piece. It has 4 holes in it to accept pins, but without that piece in there that I missed, there wasn't 4 pins sticking up for it to stick down. So I pretty much had to pull the faceplate off, the lenses, the front off, and then split the sides again. But this is also the first option for the specialist piece. There's 2 options for the side here. A piece that goes on that's just flat, makes the helmet look nice and smooth, or one that has a hole in it that accepts this, I don't know what this is, camera piece or whatever this extra part here is. Now this did come off that C-sprue along with this centerpiece right here. So there's a nice contrast of gloss black and then kind of a grayish color. It's not just all black, so you lose detail in it. One thing I don't like is the green lenses and the green little lights or whatever they are in the chin here. They're completely lost in the sea of black. Okay, for the specialist option on the chest, there's actually 2 different chest pieces. There's the piece without the straps on it, just nice and clean like the Death Trooper we have in the Black Series already, regular release. And then the specialist has the straps coming up and over, and those are actually sculpted onto this extra chest piece. And once again, this is very subtle on the torso piece, the lower torso, but there's straps on this piece going around the sides, whereas the regular doesn't have any straps like that. The instructions are actually building the specialist. Everything in the special little boxes right here and here and here, that's to build the regular trooper. Moving right along, I've got the crotch piece together and the torso and the pauldron. I noticed that the C parts, the not quite black parts, are kind of a softer material. The next step calls for the waist to be pushed onto the torso. I like to hold off on that because sometimes the legs are hard to get on these pegs and you got to force it on, and it's better to not have all the torso piece to get in the way. Okay, again with the specialist options. For this piece that goes around the lower torso, you can either put one flat piece that just goes over that for the regular trooper, or you have this add-on piece that is about 8 pieces stuck together, both of gray parts and black parts. This piece right here is actually on a hinge type mechanism, so it goes up and down, I guess, to get out of the way or something. I don't know. Okay, what I ended up doing was taking that one piece off the front with the hinge on it because you couldn't push, but it just goes on the outside here. The torso kind of just goes behind it. Yeah, it's a lot of shit on there, but it's the specialist. He's supposed to be weighted down with all this stuff. So may lose a little bit of articulation, like the forward crunch just a little bit, but it's still all there. And that on top of that, you got to kind of fiddle with it to get it to move around. And then I'm going to take this and put that back on there, which I don't want to push directly on that because that's a separate piece right there. Okay, the rest of the body went together pretty easy. Legs. There's a lot of details that you don't notice on a regular action figure, but on the model you notice it because you're putting it on there. So cool stuff to look at here in a minute. There is one annoying thing with the figure that we've seen before, but again, we'll get to that when I get to the actual review. But putting the weapons together, I love how this rifle has little intricate details like these pieces where the tubing runs along the side of the gun. Now when you put this on, there's actually 3 tabs and 1 hole for a tab. So put the big tab on first. When you slide this on to the big tab, it pretty much lines up your little tabs in the gun. At first I thought it was just this back one, but I didn't even notice that it had these other tabs on it. And be careful with those because they're just really tiny. Just kind of put them in there and then push it in. If we see this from anywhere else, it's probably going to be not as detailed. But yeah, having those as little separate pipings, that's just awesome. And then with the bulkier rifle, all these pieces are separate pieces that went on, even the butt of the stock. Just great little details here. And there we go, all put together. And if you watched up to this point, you know that I built it as a specialist. But I got to that point, I took pictures, I messed around with it for a while, and then I thought, it wouldn't be a full review if I didn't do the standard grunt too. So I took the piece off the side of the head, I changed out the ab piece, and then I changed out the chest piece, which is a little bit harder than you would think. But we'll get to that. The figure itself, everything is nice and sharp and clean and crisp because each part of the figure is its own individual piece. And the colors on this. The model kit does a good job of separating individual parts. There's the gloss black parts, there's the matte black parts, and then there's the gray parts. Not quite gray, kind of a blackish gray, which is essentially what gray is, but you know what I'm talking about. And then the green in the eyes and the chin. I talked about this during the build, but the green doesn't really stand out once you get it together. It's a translucent piece, it's backed with black, so it just kind of loses that color. Now during the build I talked about one thing that annoyed me, and we saw it with the First Order Stormtrooper, and that's where they built the elbow sideways with the armor piece. I don't know why they do this. I guess because there's more room to go against the torso right here because the armor is separated. To get the elbow forward, you have to kind of turn it, but that also juts the arm away from the body, and then it hinges forward. Another thing that I'm noticing with the gloss black, good grief, is this a dust magnet. Put it down, I pick it back up, and it's got dust all over it again, on top of fingerprints. Now I'm going to go over articulation while I have all of the specialist stuff off of it. And then I'll put the specialist stuff on and show you how it's kind of hindered, but it's not terrible. You have a ball at the top of the neck going up into the head. You have good side to side. Not a lot of up. Down, not so bad. And then swivel. The shoulders are on a ball going into a butterfly joint, so it butterflies out. The butterfly joint likes to get stuck up in there. This was open a minute ago, but I shoved it back in. I've done some messing around with it. And now it's stuck up in there again. But it does butterfly forward. Not bad. You get a shunt forward. Some shift out to get some more range of movement there with the shoulder pad and the armor. But with that, you get it out to about right there. And you have some shift around because of the ball joint. You have a swivel at the bicep. You have a double elbow with the shift down at the forearm. You can shift it up and down. Up whenever you want the arm straight. Shift it down a little bit to get a little bit more range of movement in the elbow. But it gets up to there. Pretty good. Swivel at the wrist and a little bit of ball. So a little forward and back, side to side. Good mid-torso joint. Forward, back, side, side. And then a little bit at the waist. You get a little bit of movement there. And then swivel. The hips are on a pin coming out. And then you have a shift down to that. You get forward. You get back. You get out about that far. Double knee gets back to there. You have swivel at the ankle. You have hinge, which doesn't get a great range of movement there. And then a forward-facing pin for rocker. I don't know if I said it or not, but I don't like switching parts out once I have them on there. It snaps together so well that I don't like pulling it apart. I feel like I'm either going to loosen it or I'm going to break something as I'm doing it. But I've done it once, so I'm going to put the specialist stuff back on here. Now that involves taking the over-the-shoulder straps off. And the best way to get the chest off is you got to remove the neck too, because there's a piece that goes back and around the neck. You want to snap the sides off, and then it kind of just pops off. And then you snap on the specialist gear. Like I said, there's that neck piece right there. With the neck still off, you pop that on there, and then put these shoulder pieces back on. Now you have this lower torso piece, the ab piece right here. It's easier to crank back on the waist a little bit and get up under it and pull out. And that opens up the hole for this big piece of gear that goes on there. Put the neck piece back in, and the pauldron goes on top of that. The head keeps that on there. And then I didn't switch out this piece right here on the side. It still had the hole in it the whole time, but being black on black, it's not really noticeable. Then you put this little eye side or laser side or whatever back on the side of the head. And then the ammo pouch goes in a hole in the chest. Now there is an alternate back piece that doesn't have the strap right there, but while I had it as a standard grunt, that's not even noticeable. In fact, it looks like it's holding on the front piece a little bit. But as you can see, that's a lot of stuff just stuck all over the figure. Pauldron hinders head movement a little bit, and then the ammo pouch snags it right there. I think of these guys as the hang back, either give orders or hand out supplies. This is like the quartermaster of my Death Trooper platoon. The torso still gets range of movement behind there. Not bad at all. The biggest thing for me are these cylinders or whatever they are sticking off the front there. It kind of gets in the way when you're trying to do holding the gun pose. But again, it's not terrible. This will probably be, I'll have one of these in my squad, and then the rest will be standard Death Troopers. For accessories, the figure comes with 2 sets of open hands. It only comes with the left fist, which is different from all the model kits before this, but there's a reason for that. I'll show you here in a second. Left and right trigger finger, and then he comes with a right trigger finger, but bent at the wrist. It's actually sculpted to have a droop to it. In the past, the stock of rifles usually scraped against the forearm or held against the forearm. It popped the hands out. This works really great with the rifle. It has that weird looking stock on it. It comes down. So this hand works perfect to hold it. Even with all of the crap on him as a specialist, you can still hold the rifle back against his shoulder. He comes with the kind of medium-sized rifle, a lot of good detail here. And then there's this small pistol. It kind of looks like the ones that came with the stormtroopers. I usually keep the hands on the weapons. I didn't do that yet because there's also a holster feature on here. It's not the greatest. It feels like just strapping it to his hip instead of having an actual holster. It's just like a little square hook. Now to get the pistol into this hook thing, I figured out the best way is to push it back, put the plastic in between the scope and the pistol, and then rotate down, and it kind of hooks through that piece under the scope. And then there's the stand. This comes with every model kit, and I always forget to show it. So here is that. It's got a piece right here that molds directly to the foot, and the foot goes in there nice and tight. For comparison, here he is with the Black Series Death Trooper. I only have the standard grunt. I don't have the specialist from the 3-pack, but as you can see, the specialist model kit has some added bulk to it. It looks a little bit better, I think. Not as scrawny, not as lanky up and down, because even without all the specialist gear, as you can see here, I actually remembered to take a picture. I deserve a gold star for that. Even without the gear, it still has a little bit more bulk to it. It looks more filled out. And then here's the model kit with Director Krennic. For those of you who mix and match the model kits, the SH Figure Arts, the Black Series, the Mafex, this is going to work on the shelf with your Black Series. This is going to work on your overall shelf. And then just for giggles, here he is with the model kit Stormtrooper. So at the end of the day, my love for model kits continues. A lot of options for this figure. You can go specialist, you can go standard, you can go anywhere in between. You can pull off some of the gear, leave some of the gear on. I like options, but it also makes me want to order a couple more of these kits. The details are good, nice, crisp, clean. The glossy black picks up fingerprints really bad, but that's the trouble with any glossy figure, really. As far as specialist and standard goes, like I said, I'm probably going to order more of these model kits, but they'll all be standards. I feel like I only need one specialist in the display. The rest can be grunts, the rest can be standard. They go out fight the battle. This one kind of hangs back, throws potions at the other players. But as far as this making me not feel the need to go get the Target 3-pack with the Black Series Specialist in it, I saw the movie last night, and that Cassian is making me want to buy that pack. But if it were down to just the Death Trooper choices, I'd probably pass on that 3-pack. But I need the Cassian, so I'm screwed. Goodbye, money. I barely knew you. So if you like this review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.